Yeah, I never thought about that. They was looking right at me, wasn't they?
Yeah. You was close enough, they count the hairs on your chest.
It's good to be back, and I couldn't find a stand for this mic yet. I went to the music store down here and they ordered me one. So I am waiting on it, so I will just use this for the live broadcast. Now the other one, Facebook, everybody can hear us off of this up here.
Right.
So it's good to be back this morning, and before I get started, I know I forget to say it, I hope you have some good holidays, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all those things. And you gonna leave that shut?
Oh, I could open it. I thought we had it shut for a reason.
Oh, it was shut?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. No, unless Patty shut it. So it's good to be back, good to be enjoying the things that we see. And Daniel took over your coffee.
That's okay.
Here, since you got one, you can pass that to her.
Okay. Thank you.
The live broadcast is running, and Facebook's running also, so I hope the live broadcast has got enough sound to it now. I've done a lot of things, worked on it, and our tech guy was very sick, so he couldn't make it down. And he said he would make it down this week, make sure and check all the sound and make sure it's working right. There we go. Somebody's trying to call. If you're on this morning, that looked like somebody trying to call me on there.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't call that phone number. We'll have to fix it every time. And if somebody's on the live broadcast, you can let us know how the sound is. I think it's okay. But okay, Merry Christmas to all you guys.
Merry Christmas.
And we've got to go down to a family deal later on. So Patty's been running around like a chicken with her head cut off, and I told her just rest today. So
Yeah.
and not worry about us, and we'll all find something to eat or whatever. So we've been talking about identifiers in the message that we're in, or in the land that we're in. And I'd gone through, well, two sessions of quite a few identifiers, and there's some more here that we'll go through. And I had an operation on my toe, on my right foot, and it is really throbbing this morning. So for this morning, I know most of you expect me to speak most of the time, but either one of you two that have anything to say at the time, it'll certainly give me a break for just a second. So feel free to this morning.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yes. I'll be heard you loud and clear.
Okay, I'll bring this up real quick in case we need it. I don't think we will, but we might. And
Yes, not enough sound on the live broadcast. Not enough sound on the live broadcast.
is that what I said?
They're still dealing with that.
Okay. If you know anybody that's over there on the live broadcast, whoever you are that reported that, just if you can get in touch with them, let them know that we're on Facebook. And the tech guy didn't make it in. I turned tons of stuff up. I thought it would work. But let me try one more thing real quick. When I brought it back up, I see it went down. So. Okay. that this may help. I hope it does.
You guys doing okay? Working?
Working. Yeah. They've even had me working at the hotel, because they're running out of employees
Okay.
and.
Hopefully that will work a little bit for them. A little bit better if anybody stays on there. Tell them they might want to check one more time if anybody's staying on there. But hopefully it's a little better than it was. So we'll get started. I had actually written down some identifiers. I wrote something last night because different people wrote me and said, Brother Parnell, a lot of the things we're teaching on is so uncomfortable.
I got it. It's a speaker down here.
And they said, you know, we see all these things, but we don't feel totally comfortable if we're sitting somewhere or talking to people, talking to other church people, message people, our families. We don't feel totally comfortable teaching it, even though it is a great blessing. And so I wrote this last night based on that. And I said, you can't be uncomfortable with ignorance. Because as spiritual scientists in humanity, we live at the very boundary of known and unknown continually. We're just there all the time. You need to get comfortable with not having all the answers, with thinking that maybe a few months down the road you may change some things. You have to just get comfortable with that whole thing. We exercise our ignorance with experience until it becomes understanding. So
There's a real correlation between ignorance and amnesia. And once we get more into that, we'll talk more. But I guarantee you'll start to see that your ignorance and your amnesia are two approaches to the same condition that you're in, brought into this life.
yes, that's good, and that's true. It's I was watching, I think it was Degrassi, and Neil deGrasse, I think is his name, and he was saying the biggest challenge in life for scientists and astrologers, different ones, is that you know just enough to believe that you're right, but you don't know enough to realize you're wrong.
That's a good way to put it.
And so sometimes we're there, and you have to change. You have to back off. You have to say, you know what, we see that different now, and that tears people up because they get into things I'm going to talk about today. They get into absolutes. They get into doctrines. They get into the unbending way. This is the word of the Lord for the day, and then when something comes up that just totally floods it and just brushes it away, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that doesn't fit in the scheme of things, nobody wants to say, gee, I got to change. You know, they're all just like, let's just keep marching. You ever see a guy driving a car and he's mad because he don't know where he's at, and he hasn't he doesn't have the willpower to stop and take a look at things, turn around, admit he's wrong or anything else, and he'll drive 50 miles the wrong way to keep from anybody knowing that he's wrong. Well, that's what some people do with the things they believe and the things they see, is once you see that there's a greater way, there's a more excellent way, the way you had was good, but this is a more excellent and a better way, and when you see that, you're saying to yourself, no, I couldn't be. I've already told everybody about this, and now I got to change it. And it's one of the ways that the Spirit of the Lord in us keeps us humble. So we will start out by talking about regeneration, reflexation, and relaxation, the 3 R's. And awareness is a continuity of experiencing holistic life. When you realize you have a holistic life, you become aware of almost everything that's going on around you. And so we're experiencing a holistic life, and something that we do is we set aside absolutes. When you come to regeneration and you come to reflexation, reflexation is a new word that they've been using some, and we've used some in the past. It's a reevaluation. When you come to an understanding about something, reflexation is to push back on that understanding and find more. And a lot of people can't take pushing back on one another. So, but do it to yourself every day. Reflexation. You know, is there a hair in the cake? Is there a bug in the food? I need to find that hair, I need to find that bug, and I need to get it out. And so that's kind of the way it is with us. We go through reflexation, regeneration, meaning new life. And when new life pours out and new life comes, a lot of people want to hold on to the old. So you need to have that regeneration and reflexation in your life, come to new life, and then evaluate it. Reflex. Take a good look at it. Maybe you didn't see everything. Maybe the way you're looking at it, it's a round peg and you're trying to fit it in a square hole, whatever it might be. But do some reflexation, and then when you come to a point to where you see that it fits, you see it acclimates itself, it fits into everything you believe and everything you see, and it fits into the things that are going on in your day around you, and just relax. And don't worry about the uncomfortability around people. People never seen a lot of what you've seen before. So you're not stepping into a ground where that is the rejection or the avoidance or anything. It's nothing new. You've had that all your life. So when you step into these things, you come to regeneration, reflexation, then just relax and, give your views when it's appropriate. You don't have to, but when it's appropriate, you give those views and you don't worry about it. We continue in the process of awakening. We will learn many things by simplifying interpretation to oneness. Whenever things come up and you can't fit it in somewhere, you can't fit it into your personal life, you know what you do? You go back to oneness. Just go back to oneness and say there's only one spirit. There is attributes in that spirit, and fit it back into oneness and say this is the Lord. This is, and slow but sure, things will begin to clear up. The focus will begin to clear up if you move it back into oneness. This is the best time for us to go forward and strengthen our love through the spirituality of science and humanity. Through the humanity of science and spirituality, and through the science of spirituality and humanity. So mixing all three of them up brings us to a greater understanding. So have that in your life and relax with it. And we talked about that throughout the year. Just relaxing. The seventh seal is a relaxing time. We're in that seventh seal. The seventh seal is just Christ, and we are the Christ. Relax in it and enjoy it. And even when it feels uncomfortable, just relax in it. and more and more and more will come as you use that new life and that reflexation of kind of tossing things around and reevaluating and putting things in the right place. It's like when you come out of darkness, you know, if you walk in a room that is totally pitch dark and you can't even see your hand in front of your face, and that room's full of furniture, you're going to run into a lot of things. You're gonna come to a point you're keeping your hands out, you're watching your shins on your legs, you're doing all kinds of things because you can't see and you know it's full of something. And so then somebody turns the light on. Well, you make a lot of readjustments in your mind. Oh, that's a couch. Oh, that's a chair. Oh, that's and you make all kinds of readjustments when the darkness begins to fade away. And that's what we do. Just relax in it and enjoy it. So we had those that we talked about through the year, and then after that we got into leadership and hierarchy. This year we have really looked at and worked on some things that remove the hierarchy from the process. And ever since 2014-15, when the Spirit began to deal with me to work to purge the hierarchy out of everything, and it was rough. There was a lot of people that were walking away and everything else, and something inside me, that spirit inside me, just said, just keep going, just keep pushing. Just keep bringing it. This doesn't belong in this new day. It doesn't belong in love divine. Hierarchy doesn't work in this. If you try to come across with love divine and you hold on to the hierarchy and you hold on to all those things of positional levels and everything else, you're in trouble. You know, it's just not going to work in this day. If you're going to hold on to apostles, prophets, evangelists, teachers, and pastors, you're going to hold on to God, and then Jesus Christ, and then the pastor, and then the husband, and then the wife, and then the children, and you set that up in your hierarchy. It's not going to work at home in this day. It's just not going to do it, and you're going to have trouble. So we started putting all those hierarchies of headship and ministries and all those things behind us, and we came over more to leadership. Leadership is not a hierarchy. Leadership, Sister Aubrey has certain things in her life that she's a leader of, and I'm going to follow her. And Brother Daniel has some things in his life that he's a leader of, and I'm going to follow him. And Alan has some, and different ones. You have some out there. I'm going to follow you in that. And then there's things in my life that I have that you're going to follow. And we're not looking at it as hierarchy. We're not looking at it as any of those things. We're looking at it as the body of the Lord, the collective body making its moves, and the Spirit will always use some part of the body to do that. When it comes to cleansing, my eye doesn't do much cleansing of anything, but my liver does. When it comes to going to the restroom, my nose doesn't do a whole lot of that. But my bowels do, and you can just go on and on and on. And there are every one of us that have a certain amount of leadership within us. Mm-hmm. And to lift one another up to a position that's higher than me, greater than me, I got to follow it. It's the only way the Lord speaks. You got to have a pastor. You got to have this. You got to have that. You're just pushing hierarchy. That your message, if you are believing this and you're holding on to that hierarchy, your message is just not going to work. People are going to see that you're not teaching or acting what you're talking about. Right. So leadership and hierarchy is something that we worked on, and we said all those gifts, 9 spiritual gifts, all of the fivefold ministry, all those things, they've all changed, and we all hold that gift within us and those gifts within us. And in this day and age, we were talking about it, and if you guys want to speak up, you can on this, but we were talking about really what is a gift now and what is a talent. Just
Right.
and to say so and so has a gift. A gift is something that's given to you that you didn't develop, you didn't do any of those things with, and it's given to you, and no one else, quote, has it. But then a talent is something that every single one of us have within us. And I think in this age, it's more about talent. What do you use? What do you practice? I don't go outside here and try to work and gain a talent from there. The talents come from on the inside, and every single one of us have them. I'm not trying to get into the Spirit enough to get a gift. All those days are done. The church ages are over. But we all have come out into this new world with talents that humanity has. Not a person, but humanity has it. And if we really believe what we're teaching, that the spirit of each one of us is projected into the body and is coming from the Spirit, the theophany, then we have to believe that every single one of us have certain talents within us that we're able to use and practice and help one another. Develop.
Yeah, to me that's a key word. Understand a gift is nothing you develop at all. It's just given to you. You got it, you do what you want with it. But with the talents, it's something that lies inherently within you that over a period of time, when you become aware of it, you start to develop that. And if you stay with it and apply the right energy with it, it's just endless where you can take it. But remember, it's not, there again, there is a difference. One is a process that lasts your whole life that you develop, work something through. The other one is just given to you. There's a total difference between the two.
And to me, that's the difference between the 9 spiritual gifts that you read about in the book of Corinthians and what we have now. Alan doesn't have to go off by himself, fast and seek God and beg and plead for some gift. Seek prophecy. You read that in Corinthians. Don't have to do that. You have talents. Be aware of those talents within you. They are way beyond any gift that you could ever get. And so we have these things. You read about those 9 spirits. You read about the fivefold ministry. Everybody's always looking for a pastor, an evangelist, an apostle, a prophet, a teacher. We need these in our life. Yeah, you do. You need them in your life. They're gifts that are within you now. Not even gifts, they are talents within you now. And you develop them and you use them. And as an apostle, that development that's in you, you learn how to bring new things to people and establish them in it. As a prophet, when you step into the gap and you hear from the word of the Lord that's laying within you, then you step out and you give the word of the Lord to whoever you are talking with, and all those things are still here, but they're inside you now. You're not looking for them out here standing behind a pulpit or some big meeting in a building somewhere. It's in you.
It's not an exterior leadership that you try to use to better yourself. It's inside you, for you to improve yourself with. That's the thing. I just want to point this out. It keeps coming back to me. I see a lot of people that always refer to this man as a prophet. And not so much as because of what he's saying, but I can see that they see themselves as a lot less. And him, don't do that. There's a difference in a prophet that has a leadership skill and the prophet that's inside you, that you are, that is for you to use. You're your own prophet. His leadership, where he goes with a message, that's different. So don't get the two confused. When it comes to leadership on those things, a lot of those things are already in you, and all you have to do is tap into them, and you use your own leadership to be your own prophet and take what you understand and progress with it and present it to other people.
Yes. And that is the difference between the last stage and this one. I seen where somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they put out something about you have to, if you're going to receive seed, it has to be passed through the body. You have to hear somebody say it and have a personal, intimate relationship and gain from them. And that can happen that way. No doubt about it. I hear things that people say and I grab it real quick. I say, oh, that's good. And I would have never probably thought about it myself. But in this day and age, it's different, and we're going to look at that. Where does the seed come from? What is the seed, and how does it manifest in you? And do I get this seed from some outside source? There's some things in there that we'll look at in just a minute. But so leadership and hierarchy is something that we have changed up. Just pay attention to it. It's in you. There's nothing wrong with loving a brother or a sister, looking at leadership in them and letting them help you. Nothing, nothing bad about that at all. But understand this. If you don't have that leadership in you and you're not exercising it the way you should be, then you're going to have a conflict constantly in your heart with the way things are going. And gods are going to be removed from you, and people are going to be removed from you, and all kinds of things until you get this in here where it needs to be.
That's right.
So the next thought that we talked about some, because it's in the line of leadership and hierarchy, is we're no longer a church. And the reason I said that is very simply, the word church means separated ones, ones called out. And we are not separated anymore. We're acclimating ourselves to the earth. We went to Sunset Mountain. We brought on the Son of David ministry. We came back to the earth to set up the ministry, or to set up these things in the earth. And we're not separating ourselves anymore. We are enjoined with the earth, and we're not called out, we're called in. And a church is a people called out and separated from Egypt, from the world, from whatever you want to call it, called out and separated, and we have gone beyond that now. We're not a church any longer, which begs the whole concept in people's minds. Okay, Brother Parnell, what about fellowships in a geographical area? What do we do with assemblies? What do we do with these things? Well, I will tell you this. You should love fellowship. If you don't love to fellowship with people, one or two things is going on. You need to develop your introvert spirit to where you can fellowship with people, or you just aren't looking at it right. One of the two. Because the more we come into this understanding, the more I want to hear from Brother Allen, the more I want to hear the things that Sister Aubrey has on her heart, the more you could just go on and on and on. And the only way we're going to do that is through fellowship.
That's right.
And it's not a matter of coming to church. It's not a matter of I got to have a pastor here, and I got to obey, and that's all gone. That there's no church. But the fellowship and having leaders there. For instance, in Brother Louis Villamore's area, he's a leader. His wife's a leader. He has men in his church that are leaders and sisters that are leaders. Same way in Brother Mitz's church, different ones. So, I will say this. If you have an assembly in your area that is caught up in this love divine and sees it, they may be smooth as silk and see it like the back of their hand, and man, everything's coming out. You say, ooh, I wish I could be in that church. The one in your area might be rough as a cob. They may have so many things that they don't see yet, but they say they love this love divine. Don't walk away.
Yeah.
Fellowship, help them. At one time, those real smooth as silk fellowships, they were rough as a cob too. And they were pushing back and forth on one another. Love one another. Come together in fellowship. If you are out there and you are not in a fellowship, because Don Parnell said there's no more churches, and Don Parnell said there's no more geographical areas where you need to go to church, you misunderstood me. I don't care who you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how much of an understanding you have. You misunderstood me. You need fellowship. You need to come together. You need to be iron against iron. You need to be love against love. You need to work with one another, and you need to smooth off all those knots. And that's what fellowship is all about. If you have a place in your area where people are coming together in fellowship and they understand this love divine, let me plead with you. Be a part of it.
Yes.
Go there. Enjoy it. And when you can help, help. And when you can listen, listen.
And that's where you use your gifts and your gifts and your talents. If you sit on them and let them benefit you, that's great. But what if I can take my gifts and talent and benefit someone else? Or benefit a group of people and have their gifts and talent bounce off each other and benefit me back? And that's where you use it. You use it in fellowship. If you sit at home and just grow, that's fine. Everything's good there. But how much better would it be to take your gifts and talent and benefit others in fellowship and enjoy other spirits and it may be iron on iron. That's fine. That's fine. You'll grow. You probably grow more than if it's, gold on gold. So, use your gifts and talents to benefit others and fellowship and enjoy one another. That's what it's all about.
Amen. Yes. So, starting this new year, if you have thought that about my message, don't worry about it. Just change. Just change and say, you know what, I made some mistakes. I misunderstood. Feel free to go out there and say, I think he didn't explain it well enough. Now I understand. Okay? That's fine with me. Say, Don Parnell, Tori didn't explain it well enough. Now he's explained it and I understand. Put it on me if you want to. Do whatever you want to do, but fellowship with one another. Love one another. Come together. The next thing is, which falls right in line, is micro and macro. You know how we came into that. And we seen how that we were operating under macro almost all the time. A God out here, a Satan out here somewhere, a world we're separated from out here somewhere, and everything was out here, gifts out here that we were trying to seek after. Everything was outside of us, and we were trying to work everything in a macro way and trying to get it into our lives and get God in our lives and get Satan out of our lives and get separated from the world and get these doctrines right, because if we got the doctrines right, we'll be the elite group. And we had all those things in our mind working off of macro. We had men, some ladies in the different places that were just, they could bring those doctrines out in such a way you were amazed. And then we come to find out that all that was doing was bringing separation, all kinds of separation, everything else. And we turned away from the macro. The spirit in me kept saying, turn inward. If you don't turn inward, you're never going to find what you want to find, and you're never going to be able to help the people find what they need. So I turned inward, and I took a look at micro, and I said, if there's a God, he's in me. If there's a spirit, it's in me. If there's a devil, it's in me. If there's a gift, it's in me. If there's a talent, it's in me. And I turned micro and went inside and found that oneness that I needed. And oneness just opens everything up for you. It opens your iniquity up for you so you can deal with it. It opens up your righteousness for you so you can enjoy it. It opens up everything in you. And so when we turn to micro, how does this apply? There is still a macro, there is still a universe, there is still all of these things. But we're not placing everything out there that's making it operate. We're placing everything in here that's making it operate, inside our being, inside us as a collective body. Everything is operating off of us. Nothing is out there that we have to get into us. If an apple tree, how does it start out? It's just a little seed that you plant into the ground. And out of that little seed comes everything that apple tree will ever be. And that's exactly the way you are. You're not going to find a seed out there somewhere and get it in you. You're not going to hear a seed out there somewhere and get it in you. The seed is in here. You may get watered from out there. You may get a blessing from out there, from somebody, but you're not going to get the seed in here. That seed is already in you, living in you, and you're not going to pull it down from somewhere and say, oh, now I'm seed. It's not going to happen. So micro is moving to the inside and making everything work from the inside out. And then we know that we are controlling, if you want to call it that, we are acclimating the earth and everything about us to one another. We are enjoining ourselves. And the next step is entities and processes. And what is the difference? I wrote this on Facebook and got a lot of, some controversy came back, and some wrote me on private email and everything else. But I was writing about entities and processes. An entity is a living person, remember that, or a living animal. An entity is something that has a spirit in it. It is the spirit. It is the person. Processes are the things that the entity lives through by projection and progression. I live through this body. This body, I'm projecting myself into it, and I'm living through it. And I am progressing my spirit through this body. Through experiences, through everything that I'm doing, I'm learning and I'm progressing. And the entity is the Don Parnell or the Atori that is projecting himself into that body. I'm not in here. You know, what's in here is organs, and skin and bone.
Right.
That's all you're going to find in here. Cells that have come together to make up this body, and I am the person that brought those cells together, and I am the person that is projecting myself into that body, and manifesting who I am and what I am through this body right here. So that's the entity. The entity is the person projecting himself. The body and all these things that you're looking at is the process that you go through to gain your experience. A person wrote about how the devil is a fallen angel and a deceiver, and he makes sin easy to commit without struggle. The devil does. And so I wrote this back to him. I want to look at it a different way. I believe the devil, the old serpent, Satan, the red dragon, are all the same process. These terms speak of a process and not a person, not an entity. You and me are the person, the entity that are using these processes of the devil, the serpent, Satan, the red dragon. We're using these processes in contrast to evolve and to progress.
Right.
We are the person, those are the processes. We came into the earth to go through the processes. We came into the earth, a symbolic name, Lucifer, which just means a bearer of light. We come into this world as a bearer of light. We pass from the theophany into the spoken word and down into humanity, bearing light. All Lucifer means is a bearer of light. That is what we came here to be. And then we lowered ourselves into the processes, into the frequencies, where unbelief, iniquity could be manifested in a lower estate. We, the bearers of light, entered into this lower estate as Lucifer, a bearer of light. And then what's the next thing that you see that the prophets begin to talk about? A serpent. Genesis 3, right on down the line. Moses, all of them wrote about it. And so we move from Lucifer to a serpent. That doesn't mean I literally changed. It is a process. And then I move from the serpent. What's the next thing you read about when Moses is talking about sacrificing things? He talks about Satan. And what Satan means, Satan actually means the head of a goat. Or in other words, what you are doing is you're in a process that isn't acceptable unto the Spirit. It wants to change it. You don't sacrifice goats, you sacrifice lambs. And so the process, he moves into Satan, which is just a process of iniquity, or a process where you're not correct in that iniquity, and you have to develop it and work through it and progress through it. And you move from Satan to the devil. And the devil is, listen, the devil is the head of a he-goat. So now you got the male and the female in your processes. And you have one that is a female, one that is a male. It's the head of goats, one male, one female. And all it's saying is you moved into this world in a male-female relationship, and you begin to use your holistic nature, and this iniquity is a process that you were moving through in the male-female relationship to progress yourself further. And so then when you come to that point, you move on to the red dragon. The red dragon, we know what it is. It was there to devour the man-child. So again, you take the man-child, and he is devoured by the red dragon, and he immediately goes to the heart of the red dragon and begins the transformation of this world. Begins the transformation of you as a human, and you do it all through these processes of Lucifer. All the way down through, and then you finally come to a point to where that Lucifer, you recognize it's you, and when you recognize it's you develop yourself and you stop eating in the pig pen. You stop going after the shuck. You stop running out here into all these things and causing so much iniquity, and you say to yourself, I got to develop myself. I got to go back home where the Father is. And you're the prodigal son that enters back in, and the Father, which is just the Spirit in you that you shouldn't rebel against, you should listen to it, And the father gave you a golden ring, he gave you a fatted calf, he done all these things, and he brought you back home. And what are you again? You went through the process, and you are now Lucifer again, a bearer of light in the house of the Father. So we see this. This is what Christ is all about. The Christ is us. It's not an anointing out here falling on us. The Christ is us, raising back up out of those frequencies of the lower states. We put ourselves in there. We use those processes, came through those processes to bring us right back up, and we raise ourselves back up from the lower estate. Yes, we are both Christ and Lucifer. That's what some got so upset about. We're both Christ and Lucifer. They're the same person. They're both son of the morning. The prodigal son that leaves the home and returns with the much needed experience to enjoy the Father's house in a holistic manner. To understand grace, redemption, love, mercy. To understand so many things that they knew nothing about before. So that is the whole process. Lucifer, serpent, Satan, devil, red dragon. When we view it in that order, I put it in that order for a reason. We find that it is the order of the prophets, how they brought it down through and showed us what it was. And it is an order of processes the same way you can't mix up the order in wheat. It's going to be two blades. Mm-hmm. The shuck don't come out of the ground first. The two blades come out of the ground in a process, and then it comes into a stalk in a process, and then it comes into a tassel in the process, then it comes into a shuck, and the next thing is the grain. You can't mix those up. You can't say, okay, it's going to be shuck first, and now it's going to be this. There is a process. And when you look at these in that process, Lucifer, Satan, or Lucifer, serpent, Satan, the devil, the red dragon, and back to Lucifer again. When you view it in that order, we find that it is the order of the prophets. It is a progression within the process of iniquity. Progression within the process of iniquity. If you want to call these things something, call it a process of iniquity. And it is a progression within the process of iniquity until it comes to its fullness and is transformed back into Lucifer. You come through your experiences, you transform and develop yourself back, or you raise yourself out of those frequencies into a higher estate, into a higher level of thinking, back to Lucifer with an understanding. The entity in this process is you, traveling through the progression. The devil is not an entity. Satan is not an entity. Red dragon is not an entity. They're not persons. They are processes that you are moving yourself through on a daily basis.
Yes.
You know, I was thinking, as you were going through that, I was thinking of Adam. You know, people say devil is a falling angel. Well, angel is the key word. The falling and the devil part is a process. Now you look at Adam. Adam is an angel. The angel is a messenger. What is his message? Is to bring the light, the understanding that he has into manifestation.
That's right.
Now how is he going to do that unless he put himself into a fallen condition so the processes will come through? In the end, he will be that messenger with an understanding that has been brought forth throughout everyone around him. So yeah, the angel fell, but the falling part was a process on purpose, contrast created to bring out the angel's message, which is a bearer of light, a bearer of understanding.
Yes.
That's what Adam did, and that's what he opened the door for each one of us to do that. Each one of us is an angel that has put ourselves into a fallen condition to bring forth our light, our understanding.
A fallen condition, a lower estate, contrast. Even in, I remember some time back I said, if we fall forward.
Yeah.
So it's a move forward.
Yes.
And it might be a move into a lower state. It might be a move into a different frequency. but we're falling forward because as we move forward into all those things, we gain more and more and more.
It's true.
And it's not just one fall. We constantly fall and we constantly get back up.
That's right.
Always.
That's,
Every day.
That's the
That's the
identification with the different processes.
Yes.
Because the devil and Lucifer are really two different processes, and they're going on within you.
That's right.
All of this is going on simultaneously.
Constant.
It's constant. Each process is a circle, and all the circles are all circulate. None of it stops. It's all energy. So in understanding that, it's easy to look at the fact that it is a process, because otherwise that would make one God, and then there's a Lucifer, a Satan, a devil, a red. So now he's got all this anti-force against one. It's not even logical to think that way. When you look at it logically, you can understand their processes. They're not people.
Right.
That's right. That's right. So we come to, because we have all these processes, what we did was we thought it was a person. We had this person living all the way back in the Theophany civilization, blowing things up. And they had a big war, and he fell down. When he fell down, it looked like Terminator. He slapped the earth and got up and stood around and took a look at things. That's not it at all. The devil, Lucifer, and that process all started in the Garden of Eden. Right there's where it was. Go to Ezekiel, I think it's the 38th chapter, 37, somewhere in there. 28th chapter, I believe. But anyway, it talks about Lucifer being in the garden and how that he took on a body. We know who that was. That was Adam. And the whole process from Adam till now has moved right down the line. And we are, like we said, constantly, the same way you roll through the 7 seals and the 7 trumpets and the 7 vials and the 7 thunders, and you roll through all those things and the 7 candles, those are all simultaneous in you working. The same way that you roll through that resurrection process, from resurrection to body change to rapture to wedding supper, tribulation to millennial reign, white throne judgment, new heaven, new earth. Those are processes. You roll through them continually. This iniquity is a process that you roll through continually and is continuous in you, and you are learning from it every single day, from every single attribute. So we see this. Now, this brings us to where I can bring all those things into me. You can bring all those things into you. We have that understanding now. It's working out from us. So this brings spirituality and science and humanity all into one. We used to have people are spiritual out here. They're of God. People are scientific and worldly out here, and they are of the devil. And humanity is what we got to separate ourselves from. You know, we had all of that going on, and it's all out here, when that's just not true in this day and age. It might have been good for then, but now it's all inside us. Science, humanity, and spirituality combined give us a clear understanding. You know you didn't have a clear understanding before we began to pull all these things together. You couldn't understand yourself. You couldn't understand why. You thought you were so good one day, and then you messed up, and you didn't even know if you had a new birth or not. You didn't know, I don't know if I have the Holy Ghost or not. I just said a cuss word. I just did this. I just did that. We were inside those processes, using them from out there, trying to get them in. But now we're bringing them out, and we bring spirituality, science, and humanity together. When you combine them all together, I understand myself. I do things I don't like, And I try to evolve past those things and then use those as tools for a better person of Don Parnell. I don't use them as tools on someone else. They got to go through the same process. And so we have this going on. Our frequency will continue to go up as we go inward and strengthen our relationships in love. Or all I'm saying is, consciously we move out of those lower estates and continue to move ourselves into higher estates, higher frequencies, smoother things, love divine, all these different things. We move ourselves up and we strengthen our relationships in love. This is the best time for us to fortify one another with our science, knowledge, spirituality, oneness, and humanity and compassion. This is the humanity has come to its greatest point, honestly, because we're moving into this with an understanding.
Yes. Yes.
They moved into a lot of things, and even today, I listen to them out on the internet. I listen to many, many, many people, and I put it like this: they go so far with it. You know, it's like you're putting a deck together, and you nail all the nails halfway, and they're all sticking up everywhere. And you say, "Man, why didn't they just nail that thing?"
Mm-hmm.
It's because they don't see it yet. They have a lot of good thoughts, but they haven't been able to pull it all together just yet. And what you are doing as a good carpenter is you're going around and whack, 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 and you're putting the nail head, you're clenching the nail. And I thank God. I thank the Holy Spirit. I thank what's in me, that He put people out there that could put that deck together, and all I had to do is clench it. That's a lot of work. Every one of them are doing what they need to do. So you don't get fussy about it. You don't get mad about it. You don't call them a bunch of ignorant people. You don't, you know, they're fools and they're this and that. They had a part to play for you to be able to nail this thing down. So
Absolutes don't exist in the way we've been taught. These processes, they're not absolutes.
that's right.
Even your entity that you're projecting yourself through, because that's what this is, it's like a TV, it's not an absolute. The spirit within is the absolute. Everything else, including what you're seeing here, is just a process. If you can frame your thinking like that, you'll never get it mixed up. You'll never be deceived into thinking, because what that does is it automatically puts it in a hierarchy. Something so inferior, something superior. Don't do that. You are the absolute, and you're projecting your life through an entity, and you're experiencing processes. They're not absolutes. They're processes that begin and end, and then you reuse them, and they begin again, and you reuse them. They're just processes. They're not absolutes.
It's true.
I want to add something as well. You look at spirituality, science, and humanity. Now I want to redefine the word, the term God. Spirituality, science, and humanity, those are the processes that get you to where you need to be for your understanding. And those three processes, spirituality, science, and humanity, makes you a God. Not an object of worship, but an object of understanding.
Yes.
That is what God is, an object of understanding. I am not worshiping Connie, Daniel, Donald. Sometimes I worship Aubrey, but depends on what mood she's in. But I'm not worshiping who they are. I'm enjoying their understanding. I'm enjoying their gifts, their talents. I'm enjoying their science, their humanity, their spirituality. And by enjoying that, it helps me to grow. It helps me to be a better God or better person, an object of understanding.
Yes. And I like that.
You're able to correctly identify
Yes.
what they are and their process.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can say, wow, I really like that, but I don't worship them.
No.
I see where the process within them has made them something more through their own understanding. But I don't worship that because it's going on in me too.
Right, yeah.
If I'm going to worship it anywhere, I'm going to do it right here, not anywhere else.
Yeah. Amen. And that brings me to the next thing that we, as I went through this year, I went through everything, and that is absolutes and doctrines. Absolutes, I seen this was written by Brother Joe Gomez, and Kip took the notes, and I really love this. Absolutes are attitudes people have that our spirituality should only come from one book. We have certainly seen that. Attitudes that our spirituality should only come from one book, the Bible. One law or one system of belief. But we have moved past that mentality, knowing that just by being human, we are already spiritual. When we moved into the human body, we moved into carnality to gain knowledge and become spiritual. Just by being human, we're spiritual and becoming more spiritual. And we moved past the concept that we can get everything we need from one book, one law, one system, and from one religion, so to speak. I found many good things from Dalai Lama, from Buddha, I could go on and on and on. I found many good things. Now, for me, I personally look at Jesus Christ as my Redeemer. Some of them, they looked at him as a prophet. That's between them and who he is. But for me, he was my Redeemer. But that doesn't mean that I can't get many, many, many good things from him. Every day, I read, I look, I pay attention, and I realize that I can get great things in other areas except one book. When we know this, we are already spiritual. Jesus was a life-giving spirit, and all human beings are life-giving spirits. Spirituality is the natural state of Spirituality is the natural state of human, and being scientific is just another evolution of humanity. When we stepped in and said, okay, you know what, science is not separate from us. We need to wake up and realize the science is not out there and spirituality is in here. It's all in here. And we realize that, we come to the understanding that human and being scientific is just another evolution of humanity. We are moving into another part of our evolution. Being flesh is automatic, scientific, and spiritual.
Yes.
Is what we are. And I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's the old guy that gets out here at 80-some years old and mows the grass behind me and goes down through there drinking his beer and has got that cigarette in his mouth. He's a spiritual being. And the more that I can enjoy him and just watch what he's doing and enjoy and watch it and talk to him when I can and be a part of his life and let him be a part of mine, the better off. And the more I'm going to excel or raise to higher estates out of the low estates that we have been in. So, human beings making the world a better place. That's what this is about.
You know, what is the difference of that old man that's out here mowing the lawn, the Tibetan monk that's sitting up in a cave in a mountain somewhere meditating, or the Oriental Chinese Buddha, I'm not sure, I don't know what they're called, monks, that's ringing a bell and meditating and praying? I mean, they're all human beings. None of them are lost. None of them. They will always be eternal. Their process is different.
That's right.
His process of relaxing is mowing the lawn out here. That Tibetan monk's process is meditating in the cave. The Buddhist Their process is ringing a bell and meditating on that bell. It's still a process. That don't mean because they're not sitting here in this room with us, they are lost. Absolutely not.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And when you understand that, you're able to, if you study them, or if you watch a video of them, or if you meet any of them, all of that process that they've been through, you're able to grab parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to say, oh my, I can use this. Oh, I see that. This will make me better. That's a great tool. And you're able to pull from them and enjoy them rather than saying, I'm blessed, I'm elite, I'm way beyond them. They need, what they really need to do is shut up and listen.
Right.
No, not at all. They had a process just like you and I did.
And we chose to follow the process of Jesus.
That's
Where
right.
they chose to follow the process of Buddha or Dalai Lama or Confucian or whoever,
Yeah,
or Muhammad. That's the process they chose to follow.
that's right.
We chose to follow the process of Jesus and let that manifest through us.
Amen.
None of us are lost. None of us.
And all processes carry within themselves a nature.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't look at the process of, say, Lucifer or the devil and say, well, I'm not in that process. I'm in a different process. So that puts you in a hierarchy in your mind. Oh, my process is better than that. You have just created a hierarchy.
That's right.
Every process has a nature. When you see somebody caught up in that process, expressing that nature, they're doing that to gain experience. Leave them alone. If you've been through it, back off and say, they still have to go through it. I understand that. If you haven't approached it, don't judge it. So, well, thank God I'm not them. No, because you still have to go through that. And every time you step into one of those processes, you cannot get away from that nature.
That's right.
You're not going to go into the process of being the devil and act like Jesus Christ. It's not going to happen. You have to acclimate yourself to the nature of that process to get out of it what you're supposed to. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of Lucifer. It's a process that you have to embrace to get what you need out of it.
Yes.
And then when you're done, then you can just gently put it aside and leave it alone, and you're through with it, and you don't judge other people.
That's right. That's right. And that brings us to life in a single and in a collective manner.
Mm-hmm.
What is life? I like this. Being human, we don't need to be religious. We're spiritual already. We don't need to conjure up some religion and say, this is it. We just don't need to. It's not necessary to try to be something that we already are and make a system of belief out of it and then exclude people. We are scientific. We are spiritual, embodied in a natural form. Our natural world is all spirit and knowledge. We are learning how to process the things we have discovered to make life better and meaningful for everyone. Our character and attributes are developed scientifically, and this is our spirituality. We are developing now by bringing spirituality and science together, placing it into us, which is humanity, and letting it flow out. Jesus continued to evolve after the resurrection. He continued in the disciples. Yeah, he got in them. And he continued in the church ages. It's not a different Jesus. It's the same God. He continued in the church ages, then in the Testaments, and now in us. Jesus is the pillar of fire. And this is another chapter of Christ right now. What's going on? We do not fly over somewhere to live as Christ, somewhere else, but we live right here, beyond the curtain of time, beyond the curtain of ages, thriving as human beings and making this world a better place and acclimating ourselves to the earth and bringing the earth to us and enjoining ourselves together. That's what this is about. We're not going somewhere else, and it's the same spirit that came in the day of Pentecost, that lived in Moses and Elijah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and every one of them, all the way down till now. It's the same Spirit, and it's why some of them could, prophets that they were, they could marry prostitutes, they could do horrible things and be rejected from leading the people. They could do all kinds of things because they were human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's processes that we go through. And this process that we are in now, love divine, we've come into the holistic nature, and we now understand ourselves as human beings making the world a better place, is what we're doing.
It used to be, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I believe at one time, there was time back, and at one time, our science and our spirituality, our concepts of them were the same. They were part of the same overall thought process.
Yes.
What separated that? I'll use one word. What separated science and spirituality? Religion.
That's right.
When religion became an institution, it took science and put it on one side, and it took spirituality and put it on the other. It was never, and we have now reached that point, we say it wasn't meant to be divided. It's two sides to the same thing.
That's right.
And we need to bring it back together. And so what do you have to do? If religion's separated, you got to remove the religion out of it to bring it back together. Just put your religion aside. Your spirituality is already there. It's just waiting to be developed. The science to make all that happen is already there. It's just waiting to be used. So just remove the religion, and science and spirituality become one again.
Yes. Amen. And you get rid of that whole, quote, seed line. Seed line of Cain, seed line of Seth and Abraham, and on out. You get rid of that whole seed line, and you say there's neither male nor female, there's no genders, there's no, and there's only one seed. Paul said, spoke to him and said, thy seed, which is Christ, one seed. So we have that now. So I want to move. It seems like it's always a segue right into the next one. But the mind and the heart. We talked about that some time back, and I'll read this first because I know this is a little bit of a controversy based on the way things have been taught to us in the past. The mind is the male. I know you have heard that the mind is the female, or the womb. And I know that's what the prophet said. Let's look at it this way. The mind being a male creates the seed within.
Mm-hmm.
I create the seed within me. My body and my function as a male creates the seed, the sperm, whatever you want to call it. I don't have to go out here and say, okay, now I'm going to find a seed somewhere and put it in me. It creates itself. The mind is the male. Let's look at it this way. The mind being male creates the seed within. The seeds, the thoughts are created within. And where are they sent to? The heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the seeds, thoughts are created within and are sent to the heart for manifestation. The heart is the female. If I have seed within me, how am I going to make it manifest? I'm going to get up with my wife in intimacy and give her the seed, and she receives it, and then there's an incubation period, and it begins to manifest itself.
Mm-hmm.
The heart is the female, the receiver of the seed. As male seed approaches by the thousands, which is the same way if you're having a relationship and the male releases thousands and thousands of that seed, that sperm is striking that womb, trying to move into it. And the heart is the female, the receiver of the seed. As the male seed approaches by the thousands, the heart turns some away and it accepts others. Once the seed is accepted within the heart, it is birthed into the body. It is a process all within you, not outside sources. When you look at it this way, if you look at it any other way, you're trying to get a source from out there somewhere into you. That's not what it's about. We have everything in us. We produce the seed within us, and we have the female nature within us, the heart, and that female nature takes in the seed that it wants to manifest for its day and its age, and it brings it out and it begins to manifest that seed into the earth. Before we said the mind is the womb, and everything out here, the devil and God and everybody else is passing seed through the womb. And then the womb, it either throws it out or it produces life. Well, that is not oneness. I'm sorry. Oneness is when you can bring everything inside you. Seed is created in the mind. Seed are just thoughts. That's what it is. It's created in the mind. You create thoughts all the time about how you're going to live, how you're going to walk, how you're going to work, how you're going to be. What do you believe? What are your belief systems? What are the things that you see that you can help people with? Evaluation, reflexation, on and on and on. That all goes on in the mind to create viable seeds that comes into the woman, into the heart. And the woman brings forth life into the earth. That's what this whole earth has been about. For 6,000 years is the woman bringing life into the earth. The male has the seed to life in him, but the woman brings the life into the earth. And that's what this is all about. The heart brings it. So don't think that you're going to receive a seed from somewhere else and manifest it in the body. If I manifest hate in here, it's because I created it right here.
Yeah.
And I passed that seed into my heart. If I manifest whatever it might be, love, whatever, if I manifest it, it's because I created it right here. Something out here didn't come flying by and jump on me. I created it right in here, and I passed the seed on through intimacy between the mind and the heart, and the heart produced that seed. Now the heart, once you come to awareness, you come to a real understanding, the heart knows when the mind has gotten just a little bit out of performance. The heart knows when the mind has passed to it a seed of hate. It knows when the mind has passed to it a seed of anger, a seed of lust. Whatever it might be, the heart knows that. And you know what your heart is going to do? The good woman that she is, she's not going to bring that to fruition. She stops that seed. Many seed never do enter to be conceived. Many more seed are not conceived than what are conceived. And your heart, once you become aware, you as a woman have the power of creation to take that, put it in you. Every one of us are women. You have the power of creation within you to bring it forth or not. So if you bring that hatred forth, you created that baby.
Right. Yeah.
If you bring anger forth and jealousy, you created that baby. Nothing out here did. You created it right here. So what do you want to do? Watch what you're doing with your seed. When you pass something forward, make it joyful, make it loving, make it peaceful, make it whatever you do, and let that manifest from you, and you'll have a lot easier life to live. You ever get 2 children and twins, if you want to call it that, and one of them, you just think to yourself, this is the easiest baby I've ever raised. they're so sweet, they're so pure, they're so this, they're so that, and the other one is meaner than a snake. You produced both of those babies. They came right out of you. And it's the same way in your spiritual experience. You produced both of those babies. Whatever comes out of you started right here in seed form, moved to the heart, manifested, came to fruition in the woman, and produced itself in your natural life. So don't put anything outside of you. Bring it inside. The mind and the heart become one, and the fruition comes forth. And when it does that, make sure, husband, mind, pass the right seed along. Wife, pay attention to the seed that's coming. And if you need to, brush it away. That all goes on inside you. That all goes on right inside you.
It's a relationship. What he's describing to you is a relationship within yourself.
Yes.
Your male thoughts and your female feelings finding common ground and saying this thought matches with this feeling, putting it together and developing something.
Yes.
That's what he's talking about.
That's right. And before, I'll use Brother Branham's message. Spoken word is original seed. Brother Branham said, you have to, this has to be passed on to you through the body. In other words, I have to receive from an apostle, a prophet, evangelist, a teacher, a pastor, or from Alan or somebody. I have to receive a seed and then let it manifest. No. I can receive thoughts from them. I can receive water from them.
Yes.
I can receive all of the good things that a seed needs, but the seed is in me. And when I listen and I fellowship from them, I get many things of water, and I say, yes, yes, this is good, this is good. And the seed keeps growing in you and manifesting itself more and more. But I don't get a seed from Aubrey. I don't get a seed from Connie or Daniel or Alan. The seed is in me. And I will produce that seed based on what I send to my heart. And whether or not I'm aware in the relationship of what's going on, I will brush some Cains away. I will brush away some Balaams. I will push aside some of these things, and I will bring forth a better child.
Yes.
I will bring forth children that are loving.
And one can't be without the other. You can't have thoughts without feelings. You can't have feelings without thoughts.
That's right.
Like I said, it all comes back to a relationship. We designed ourselves in such a way to continually be in a relationship.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
That's what this whole world is about.
It's what the whole thing's, it's about relationship.
Yes.
Our thoughts and our feelings, finding common ground and developing experiences to gain understanding and progress through life. It's all about relationship.
Yes. And when you understand that, bring all things to one. This earth, if you remember, it has a symbolical number to it. Man has a symbolical number to it, and that's the number 6. Tesla said, if you can understand the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you will understand the universe. And we have come through 3, which was the perfections of the Testaments. We have come through, we've moved into 6, and that is understanding the wisdom of man. We are here now beginning to understand the wisdom of man. Listen to what John wrote in Revelation 13. Here is wisdom. Pay attention to that. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast. What beast would he be talking about? Some animal out here running around counts a number on a cow? It's symbolic. And count the number on the beast. And the beast is that body that you're projecting yourself through, that the mind and the heart is working together in relationship. That's the beast. And as it works together in relationship, pay close attention, pay attention and have wisdom about it. The beast and what it is, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666, or 666, or 666. Everybody's scared to death of that number. I remember one time I was in a grocery store, and the lady, it came up, I owed her $6.66. Oh, I thought she was going to faint, you know. And I said, well, so that you don't have any bad luck today, I'll give you $6.67. And I handed it to her. And she was just like, oh my God, 666. At one point, you could look at 666 and you yourself, that's an Antichrist number. Mm-hmm. But not in this day. 666 is the number of a man. In every person of humanity are 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons. Right. And that makes up the body. That's right. 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. The number is 666. Mm-hmm. There it sits. It's not some Antichrist on a throne somewhere. It's not something outside of me. It's inside me. 666. When you find the position of the beast, you will find him on your throne. Mm-hmm. Not on some throne in Rome. You'll find him on your throne. Those who have understanding, that's what John said, have turned inward and have taken the throne, recasting the nature of this beast, making it the man-child entered the red dragon. This is the time period we're in, and he's taken the throne, and he is the 666, setting on the protons, neutrons, and electrons, and ruling the world with a rod of iron, sitting right inside of you. The man-child, 666, has taken the throne of the red dragon in this age and is changing all things in the kingdoms of this world into the kingdoms of Christ. Now, I'm not changing Trump. I don't have the ability to make Trump do something different. My influences will make the world flow that way, and yours will too. But what world has become the kingdom of our Lord in me? It's this. Mm-hmm. It's this guy right here. Mm-hmm. I used to live after man. I used to live after the things of the world. I used to do this and I used to do that. And the man-child became one in my heart, and he put together the mind and the heart and has brought forth another baby, another system, but it's perfect in all of its ways. It's not after the things of the world. It brings the two together and enjoins them as one. We recast the heart of the beast through the transformation, and 666 becomes a symbol of our deliverance and not a symbol of the Antichrist. That's right. We have transformed this thing. We are those that are full of wisdom and understanding that know the number of man. I am projecting myself into this body, bringing forth seeds in the mind, producing them in the heart, and manifesting myself, and all that's around me is an influence of me, and all that's around you is an influence of you. And it's the greatest day that we've ever set in to understand these things, to take it beyond astrology, to take it beyond the zodiac, to take it beyond the earth and the way it was, to take it beyond any testaments, to take it beyond all of these things, and to place us right smack in the middle of love divine, bringing everything to oneness and making us a perfect number, 666. Man living in the earth under the flow of the Holy Spirit continually. That's what's going on today. And we're bringing it closer.
So we had it backwards. we always thought that that number was the Antichrist, and in reality, that number just shows Christ.
That's right.
There is no Antichrist. That's a ghost. It doesn't exist. It's Christ.
Christ. That's
It always has been.
Yes. And we were deceived into
We were
thinking something
deceived.
else.
Now, I've always been comfortable with it. My name's Daniel Garner Brooks. If you look at it, there's 6 letters in all 3 of those names. I've been considered Antichrist my entire life. I'm comfortable with it. I'm totally comfortable with it. But now that I see this, it just, a light comes on and I realize it's true. I've never been an Antichrist except in my mind where I have planted that.
That's right. That's right.
I'm always the Christ, and when I become an Antichrist, it's because up here, I had taken seeds of those thoughts and planted in my heart to where I become that.
That's right. And now you become aware, you're creating those seeds, and if one of those old traditional seeds crops up, the heart's aware. That
Yep.
woman is a sharp lady.
Yep.
And she passes that seed off and says,
Yes.
not going to produce that.
That's exactly it right there.
So that's where we're at. We have, I have maybe one more where we'll talk about identifiers. Is there anything else that anybody wants to say, or is it understandable?
Very, very understandable. When people start catching this simple thought right here, it'll change everything. Once you realize everything is happening inside you, it's not out there. Sure, you're influenced by what you see out there, but everything is designed and set up by you
That's
to
right.
happen within you for you.
That's right. Macro only operates properly when you move it from the micro out to macro.
It gives you a different perspective,
Yes.
a different reflection. That's what it does.
If you don't do that, you've got all this macro universe and you're trying to take it all in. It just never will work.
No.
It's not compatible. You become a man of wisdom, ladies of wisdom and understanding that all of this is a projection of me.
Mhm.
And it's all coming from right in here. Amen.
It's good.
Anything else?
Merry Christmas to all who may dwell here. Merry Christmas to each and every one. May the joy of the Spirit surround you. Merry Christmas with love. It's my gift. Whether it's worth anything to you or not.
Yeah. You got us in trouble. You know, there's so many out here that just say Christmas is of the devil.
Oh my.
I hear it all the time. I get it. I see it. Different ones will write to me or on Facebook. And I'll say, you still participate in that? I just love it. That's what I tell them.
I just love it.
I love it. I have a devil all the time.
Happy Hanukkah, yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. All the terms come out to the same.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it is a process.
Yeah.
I could call it Lucifer, I could call it the Red Dragon, I could call it a lot of things, but it's a process that I am enjoying, and I could call it Christ. And I get all the Christ that I can out of it. And I don't celebrate his birthday on Christmas Day, I celebrate his birthday every day. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing on my heart is a song about Christ, about Jesus, about everything that has happened for me, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much, and I don't care. Someone said, "You got a Christmas tree in your house." If I had a big enough house to have a dozen Christmas trees, I'd have them. They're so beautiful.
They are
You-
beautiful.
You just sit there in the evenings and you look at it and you think to yourself, "What a blessing the Lord has done for me." That He has moved out of me. He's produced all these things around me. It's a great time.
It's a symbol of how we should be every day of the year.
Yes.
We take this one time frame in December, this one day, and celebrate this one day, and actually it's a symbol of how we should always be. It's a symbol of love, of giving, of understanding,
Yes.
being appreciative, That's the way we should be every day. We should have a Christmas tree up every day, all year long.
So that was our Christmas message today, and that is decorate your mind and your heart with love and understanding and great wisdom, and be the most beautiful thing that you can be, that makes people happy when they get around you.
Yes.
That's what this is.
This is your Christmas tree. Take all the decorations of your thoughts in your heart and put on it what you want.
Yes,
And everybody's will look a little different, but it's all the same thing.
that's right.
And we're just here to share.
Okay, I want to say something. It's beautiful to help others, because it's always nice to, if you're working somewhere, it's always nice to live in good terms. And they call you back and say, Connie, Daniel, Don, whatever, you know what? We need your help. Please come back.
Yes.
And when the manager and the hotel called me and said, you want to come back and help us? I'm like, wow, yeah, I want to come back, because I feel like I'm a blessing to them, and they are a blessing to me, because I'm helping other people to do what I'm doing.
Amen.
And it's just beautiful. Your heart, my heart, jump when they call me. And talking about Christmas is like, you know what? I'm a Christmas for them, because I'm helping, and
yes.
they're helping me.
Yes. Amen. Anything else?
There's a value in connecting with people through this, through devices. There's a great value in it. It opens up to where the whole world's at your door. But nothing matches personalized connection.
That's right.
All of this does not connect to that at all. I can talk and have talked to people, great conversations for years, but I know it's not the same thing as having a direct, personal, present connection with them.
Yes.
That's different. And that's kind of what she's pointing to. She can go on here and connect with a lot of people, but when she walks into that hotel and looks people in the eye and walks up and touches them, that's a whole
Yes.
different kind of connection. And that's what she's alluding to, is that connection and being happy to have that kind of connection with people.
Yes, that's it. Amen. What time is it?
11:40.
Okay, everyone out there, have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Have a Happy New Year. Enjoy your holidays. Don't worry about what you get from other people.
Or don't
Just-
get.
Or don't get.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. You know, my wife put it out on Facebook, and it had the little pup of ours, Remy, with Santa Claus. And there was 2 or 3 pictures. We were in the pet store, and Santa Claus was there, and we'd had her at training. And so she said, let's get some pictures. So she put them on Facebook. If I had the time to show you my emails, I can't believe that you and your wife do this and do that. And I just delete them. I don't even answer them. It's just so silly to me. What's wrong with enjoying life?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And you say, oh, it's a Babylonian this, a Babylon. Well, it might be to you. If that's what it is to you, you stay out of it. But for me, I'm enjoying it.
And while we're closing out, I know he's said something and other people have. Let's keep Daryl Mail
Yes.
in your thoughts and in your meditations of your heart. He's going through a lot, as well as his family is. He's going through a lot, and I know in my heart he's going to be all right. But he has a long, slow road of recovery. He's going to be
Yes.
going through a lot daily.
Yes.
So while we're sitting around here fellowshipping, enjoying food and drink and holidays, this man's laying up in a hospital in a lot of pain, separated from
Yes.
that type of atmosphere and from his family. So let's really keep Daryl in our hearts.
Yes.
This is not going to be a great Christmas for him. It's going to be really trying for him. And we
It's
want
true.
to send as much energy to him as you can.
Yes. He, for those that maybe haven't heard, he had a wreck. A guy pulled out in front of him. He hit him broadside, destroyed his truck, gave him orbital fractures all around the right eye, 6 broken ribs, internal bleeding, gas pockets on the spinal cord, which means almost ruptured several discs. You know, just so many things that he is in terrible pain about. He was internally bleeding, so they had to cut him from right here all the way to the crotch, the heart to the crotch. Cut him wide open to go in and get all that bleeding stopped. So he's just in major, major pain. He's stable. Stay in prayer for him. Thank you for all you that are.
Yes.
And for his family too. Patty and I have been keeping his 2 sons while his wife's staying there with him. So,
And take the time to wish him Merry Christmas. He would appreciate seeing a lot of people saying, "Hey, dear, I know you're going through it, but I just want to tell you Merry Christmas." I think that would mean a lot to him
that's
to
right.
hear from you.
Yes. Yes. So love, bless. Have a good Christmas, and let's all stand and we'll. Join hands together, and we will trust in this energy that's flowing among us, the people and who we are in this day and in this age, and in the authority of Christ for this age. We are trusting, and we declare that the things that we need, they'll be given to us financially, spiritually, healing, physically, all the things we'll trust and believe that they are in us, and they will break open and come forth, and everything that we've wanted, everything that we need is ours in the authority of Christ. Amen. Sing the song, brother.
Merry Christmas to all who may dwell here. Merry Christmas to each and every one. May a joyful spirit surround you. Merry Christmas with love.